Members, let's resume, and we continue with the second session. We welcome deputations and individuals for coming to this session to express their views on this subject. But before we start, I'd like to remind our deputations a few things. In front of you, there is a microphone as well as an earpiece. And also a button to choose the channel. You prefer channel 1 is Cantonese, channel 2 English. Because representative of deputation is going to speak in English. So just want to remind you beforehand. And deputations are not protected by the immunities and protection offered by Electoral Powers and Privileges Ordinance Cap 382, and the same applies to your written submissions. So please try to be succinct in your speeches because we have a large turnout today. And if you have yet to give us your written submissions, feel free to do so after you've spoken. So we have to get started as soon as possible. Undersecretary, I won't give you the floor at this time. Each deputation or individual will have up to 2 minutes. So the first speaker is Mr. Lai Man Kit. Mr. Lee Chuk Yan, can you please... Yes, that gentleman in the back row, please switch off the lights. Or you can adjust the shade so that there won't be glare. Yes. Okay. Because of the design of the light, please adjust a little bit. Mr. Lyman Kit. Thank you, Chairman and members of the industry. I represent the Driving Instructors Association. Well, the two-pronged approach was established in 1980, and that started the nightmare of DIs. DDS, with the support of the government, have been bullying our DIs. I have seen so many cases of injustice. Well, for instance, getting a slot for your driving examination. When I first joined the trade, there was a difference of about 1 month between students of DDS and also PDIs. Now, the gap has become longer and longer. So how committed is TD to resolving this problem? We've lost hope in TD altogether. And regarding this consultation period, from the time I received the facts from TD to the consultation meeting, well, there were only 3 days. So how could we have enough time to discuss the options in 3 days' time? Is it just a fake consultation? Or is it just another black box operation? In 2003, through open balloting, I joined the League of PDIs. Some members here agreed that there should be reissuing of PDI licenses after a moratorium of more than 30 years. Without your decision, I won't have the opportunity to speak here. Our association will only support any lot drawing exercise that is fair, open, and transparent. Thank you. Next, Mr. Lam Koi. Well, you keep talking about lot drawing. Now, we're not talking about lucky draws. We're talking about livelihood issues. Experienced DIs may be phased out. Why? Now, here it says that a learner driver or a DI knocked somebody down. So This took place on the 5th of March 2009. Well, you want it to be fair, but if a certain house is burnt down, you have to take care of the needs of this household first. Now, an elderly person was killed by this DI. Well, who will be the next in line? Now, I want to put it calmly. You have to be calm when coaching driving. Elderly DIs are experienced and they are more mellow because they are more experienced in life. I'm not saying that young people are not qualified or not competent. I just say that those with experience should be given priority. Well, there is discretion and priorities. So I want senior officials and members of the panel to agree to my position. Thank you. Thank you. Next, Mr. Lai Shiyong, Chairman, members of the panel. I represent the Council for the Transport Industry and Driving Learning. We have got Group 3, Group 2 members. Well, very often they are not allowed to take part in lot drawing exercises for P1 licenses. Well, you want the system to be fair and open. Well, the waiting list is as long as 30,000 applicants. Why don't we open the competition to all? We know that resources with the TD is limited. We believe anyone with 3 years of driving experience should be qualified to join the test. Thank you. Ms. Look Like Cam. Good morning. Experienced DIs should be supported because I think an experienced DI will make it easier for me to get a license. So I go for option 3. Thank you. Mr. Mkinwa. Good morning. I am from the Driving Instructors Merchants Association Limited, representing more than 200 members here. We have decades of history, and we have witnessed changes in this trade. Well, currently the system is fair and open, and by drawing lots, this is very good, so that the learner drivers do not have to take up road space, and we have a lot of railways and the pipeline, including the Central-Wanchai link, and I don't think there is enough road space for learner drivers. The best approach is by drawing lots, so that you can take the test fairly and justly. Thank you. Mr. Secretary Wong, well, I am very worried. I'm worried that this minor issue may lead to serious polarization within the industry. This has always been my worry. So I hope that the deputations from the industry can tell us what are the main issues. The main issues I gathered from the industry is there is monopoly, there is collusion between the government and the business sector, and there is also the question of some organizations enjoying privileges. All right. We were first told that the RDI license regime would also be reviewed. However, I failed to see any in your proposals. There is no option that would abolish RDI licenses. I think the crux of the matter is RDI licenses. If this kind of license is abolished, I'm sure many of the problems can be resolved. Many RDIs, they are very experienced. They have taught for 1 decade, 2 decades in DDS, and they are still getting $20,000, $30,000 per month. Now, if someone has served a company for almost half of their life, and upon retirement they are still making $20,000, $30,000 a month, and after that, after you retire from that company, you cannot continue to teach driving. Now, imagine you are a lawyer, you can only serve this law firm, you cannot do so with another firm, and if you're an accountant, you can only work for this accountancy firm and not for another. If you're a teacher, you can only teach in this group and not in another. So how do you view this matter? Mr. Y. Shao Sin. Thank you. Good morning, Chairman and members of the panel, and good morning, government officials. I'm the person in charge of the Kowloon Motor Driving Instructors Association. Well, we received this message from the TD that the DI licenses will be reviewed, and we issued over 200 questionnaires to our members. Over 90% of them are for option 1, and this number 1050. Our drivers are among the best in the world. Thanks to the examination system of the TD, it's very stringent, and the TD is very responsible. So we can only get a group 1. We can only get a driving license after several tests, and that goes the same for PDIs. So option 1 should be used so that anyone who is interested can come and to join the lot drawing procedures. I think other deputations have made the point very clear. I will not labor the point here.
Mr. David Chang, good morning. Our association supports option 1, that is to maintain the status quo. Secondly, the restricted RDIs should not be converted to PDIs. Now, the RDIs licenses are given by the DDS, and one of the restrictions is that they have to serve the DDS. Now, these people enjoy numerous chances in sitting test for application of licenses. However, for the PDI trade, people have to make applications, and they have to line up for the test, and they have to pass all the tests in one go. If they fail in any one of the tests, they won't have any chances to sit a re-examination. So for RDI license holders, they do not meet the requirements of PDI license holders. So how can the RDIs be converted to PDIs? If the RDIs are allowed to be converted to PDIs, we may give this false impression to the public that the DDS has this privilege of granting license, and then the TD will be falsely accused of colluding with the business sector. For Group 1 vehicles, the PDIs are completely different from those in Group 2-3. For Group 2-3, the DIs enjoy 3 years of driving experience, whereas for the Group 1 license holders, that's not the case. I agree the Group 2-3 DIs, they are very experienced, but then they haven't coached any new learner drivers. Next, Mr. Lam, Pingtech. Good morning, officials and members. In the past 10 years, we have a shortage of PDIs. because the TD has not done sufficient consultations. Next, Mr. Lam Chi-kin. Good morning, Chairman. At present, number of PDIs is insufficient. Our learner drivers can only sit in the exam after driving for 30 years, after learning for 30 hours. But this requirement can't be met with the existing number of PDIs, so please increase the number of PDIs. Next, Mr. Lee Siu Peng. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, members, deputations. I am Lee Siu Peng. I am the Director of Driving School Training Center. I'm also a PDI of Group 1. I joined the applications for Group 2-3, but I did not have a chance. I was not drawn. Still, I don't oppose to the system because I think lot drawing is the fairest system. Many people have strong views about the license issue mechanism. I think the crux of the matter is fairness. Some people do not have to go through the lot drawing process before they get the PDI license. I don't agree with this practice because this is like queue jumping. Queue jumping is rude. It's not fair to people of Hong Kong. Many of my former colleagues, many of my friends, they are capable, they have the relevant experience. They have the relevant experience and they meet the criteria to sit in the exam. They want to sit in the exam and get a PDI license, but still they are subject to lot drawing, and they join the fair system to get their license. At present, the TD throws up to many options. Some options are not fair to many of my friends. I asked members of this panel to maintain the fair system, to maintain the lot drawing system. Thank you. Next, Mr. Ng Ka-wai. Good morning, everyone. I prepared a lot to talk about, but having listened to so many deputations, I only have 2 points to make. First of all, I am a PDI. I want to say something on behalf of many of my former colleagues to Mr. Yao. Tens of thousands of people made application in the last exercise, in the previous exercise. And if the mechanism is not open to all, then many people will take to the streets. Next, Mr. Albert Chen, I want to respond to your points. I am a PDI, and I support opening the market to everyone. That is, open the application system to everyone. But first of all, we have to discuss the two-pronged approach. We have to see whether the DDS are enjoying monopoly and whether the RDI's restrictions should be abolished. We have to settle these matters first. Before that, we should maintain the status quo. That is option 1. I support that. And next, I want to ask Mr. Lin something. I respect him very much. He and I are DIs, but still, I think consider his advanced age. I don't think he should have done that. I think the people behind him, the DIs behind him, are very self-centered, selfish. They should not ask someone of a senior age to do something for him. Next, Mr. Chan Ka-hin. Good morning, Chairman. I am a PDI of Group 1. I've been in the trade for 3 years. I support option 1. Deputations, friends from the trade and legislators keep talking about fairness. The existing system offers low threshold and is an open and fair system. Within 3 years, a person should have the license for a certain group, and then should have an experience of 3 years, and he should not have contravened any traffic ordinances for the past 5 years. Now, you are subject to lot drawing, and you only have one chance. If you fail in the test, then you won't have any further chances to resit the exam. For the RDIs, as long as they are so lucky to get the ticket in the lucky draw, in the employment of the DDS, they enjoy this privilege. So if you allow them to get the PDI license without passing any test, is it fair? If we want to uphold fairness, then for the RDIs, for the current RDIs, they should be subject to road test and written test too. So I think we should maintain the status quo and support option 1. Next, Mr. Lui Leung Ping. Good morning. I am from LC Club Limited. I'm Lui. I've been a PDI for a decade. I've had many learner drivers. But before that, I was a taxi driver. I never thought I would be a PDI. Out of chance, I read from the newspaper that the TD opened up the license exercise, so I made application. Over 30,000 people competed for over 100 places. I did not think I had much chances. But then I got notification from the TD, and I was very excited as well as nervous. I only got one chance. There was no chance for re-examination, so I only had one chance. I did not work, and then I focused on the exam alone. Then I passed the exam. It takes skills and luck to pass the test. This is a fair, open, and just mechanism, I think. So on behalf of the PDI trade, I support option 1. I think we should maintain the status quo. Thank you. Next, Ms. Chan Feng Yi. Good morning, legislators, officials, friends from the trade, and chairman. Good morning. I am from El Pass, a driving school. In 0309, the TD opened the PDI exam, and there was this fair and open lucky draw. We got our license from this exercise. I want to thank our predecessors who fought for this fair mechanism. Before we became PDI, we worked in different sectors, and with the current system, we are given the chance to enter this trade. We don't have much resources. We don't have much resource for publicity. We don't enjoy any privilege in the use of the road. We actually face lots of constraints. We bear with all this, however. We made use of our passion to coach and our skills, our experience, and so got the license. We don't need support from the government. We simply ask the government to maintain this fair, open, and just mechanism so that more new blood can be introduced to the trade. I support option 1. Next, Mr. Chen Yong-kun. Good morning, legislators and everyone here. I'm Chen. I am a PDI of Group 1 vehicles. It's been 30 years since it's been 13 years or 10 years since the government started the last license issue mechanism. I've never been lucky in lucky draw, but then I was very lucky. It was only later that I understood there was an oversubscription of 70%. It shows you that the trade is very attractive. You're going to issue over 210 licenses. I'm already in the trade. Who and how will you issue the new license? It's not of much consequence to me, but many deputations, many legislators have spoken. Having listened to them, I think the other options do not offer the chance to members of the public except for option 1, so I support option 1. Good morning. I'm a driver. I want to look at this matter from the perspective of a driver, and I'm also a Sha Tin district councillor. Just a few days ago, a car nearly brushed against my car, and then it drove away. But then I realized that it got involved in a collision. So I think driving skills is very important to PDIs. So I support option 3, which allows DIs with experience to sit in the exam, so we can enhance road safety and to protect the interest of all road users. Next, Mr. Ngan Wai Man. Good morning. I am an RDI of Group 1 vehicle. I got a license for Group 2 in 2010. The license is a PDI license in 2010. That is one without restrictions. Before 03, there was no issuance of PDI license. So if one wants to enter the trade, one has to join the DDS. Now, I was subject to test by the TD in that year. But at present, the test only comes in a written test and road test. Now, at present, even back then, I only got one chance to sit the test. There was no chance for re-examination. If the restriction is removed, 1,400 drivers, 1,400 DIs can make free choices. The DDS doesn't have a franchise. It should not be allowed to control all its employees. We have already accumulated so much experience. We should not just be working for one company only.
So, if our experience is not recognized upon leaving the company, it will encourage the company to bully us. I am a part-time teacher, a coach with a DDS. So let me tell you, I've got no income in these 2 years because I've got no students at all. I can only compete with ordinary members of the public. Mr. Siu Ka Kin. Good morning, Mr. Chen, Chairman, and members of the panel. Yes, we RDIs have to go through an interview, and I will be tested on our knowledge on the relevant legislation. If we failed the interview, we would be disqualified. And the administration has implemented qualifications framework QF to protect or to offer safeguard to grassroots workers. Why is it that for Kwun Tong and also Hong Kong SM, why is it that their RDIs can only get their licenses reviewed through their schools? And the TD like to talk about congested road surface. I think it is of the making of the TD, because you have chosen examination routes near police stations, fire stations, schools. You can provide an examination field or learning area for schools are Lee Keen, Ho Wan, Lucky, so on and so forth. Please don't say that giving licenses to RDIs would affect the use of road service, because this is so unfair to RDIs. And I also like to reiterate, there are so many professions in Hong Kong, as pointed out by Mr. Posey and other legislators. Now, if you are competent, why are you so worried of competition? This is so unfair. Now, if you have served a particular law firm, if you're a lawyer, I think it is okay if you join Mr. Posey's law firm. So I hope that you can listen with an open mind, and many RDIs are suffering because they're serving DDS. And I'm worried that once I've come here, I won't get my RDI license renewed. So I like to have it recorded in a minute that many RDIs would like to come. They are just worried that they would be affected. Thank you. Mr. Wong Po Kei. Thank you. I represent an ordinary member of the public. I've been waiting for more than 20 years, hoping to get a PDI, to no avail, because I'm not a very lucky person. So I come here to see what is the licensing regime like. I am very happy to be here to see that PDIs now, if 300 licenses are available now, it doesn't affect the PDIs at all, how the licenses are allocated. They just want to secure a fair licensing system. So I have waited for far too long. For more than 20 years, I want a fair licensing regime. So many people support a fair system. So I am happy. I feel that there is justice here. Thank you. Order, please. Quiet. Because our meeting schedule is tight. So please, order. Mr. Lee Ka-lok. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman, and members of the panel. Thank you, government officials. I'm just an ordinary road user. I don't come here as a driver. I think the paramount consideration for the TD in this review should be road safety. The TD should take this opportunity to enhance the standard of DI licensees. There are different types of road users. There are container lorries and other vehicles other than private vehicle drivers. So I go for option 3 because drivers should have experience in driving different vehicles. I think DIs have really got their licenses. The licensing regime is not to take care of interests of vested interests of parties. Rather, we talk about road safety. So I think the system cannot be compared with the system for waiting for PRH flat. So PDI licensees, regardless of the whatever group they are in, and also RDIs should be given priority before we open the test or competition to members of the public. Some deputations say that DI can choose to continue coaching or not. But if PDI licensee has not been teaching for more than 10 years, then I am worried about his standard. So I believe PDIs or DIs should have regular experience in coaching. Thank you. Mr. Lam Chung Tong. Thank you. I represent the driving instructor branch of the Motor Transport Workers General Union. Well, in 2009, Alright, in 1969, I passed various tests to acquire a license. I've been in this industry for more than 4 decades, so I think I am well qualified to comment on this matter. I support option 1 because it is fair and just. We have more than almost 30,000 members in our union. All of us have good driving attitude. We have got drivers of buses, taxis, and private vehicles. We are very experienced when it comes to driving. We are very skillful, and we have good driving habits. DIs do not just teach skills. They should be experienced. And we should teach our students courtesy on the road, and teach them to be observant and to have anticipatory power while on the road. So we support option 1. Next, Mr. Poon Hao Leung. Good afternoon. I represent Lee Kin Driving School Limited. It's difficult to find DIs for learner drivers. Even if they can find a DI, they can't have enough learning hours. So sometimes they have to defer the examination. And I think this is another burden for learner drivers, because they have to apply to the transport department. Why there's so many restrictions when it comes to DIs? Why can't we follow the practice of taxis and buses and other things? We have asked the TD many times. We're told in the past that 1,050 PDI licenses are sufficient. In fact, we have fewer than 500 practicing DIs in the market. Well, the TD is just using this as an excuse. Well, member of the industry or a deputation said that he's been waiting for more than 20 years. Why should there be restrictions in joining the industry? Because people who are committed to teaching may not be lucky enough to get a lot, and so they have been left out. There are people who are already in this industry, and there are members of the public who have asked through their friends how they can get a PDI license. But because of the cap of 1050, well, there are people who are not using their PDI licenses. And the administration will say that since there are 800 or so, well, another 200 can be issued to top up the pool. I support option 2. Ms. Han Lee.
As one of the last people to speak, I would not be surprised if I'm one of the first to mention the real people that are being hurt in this situation, those that want and need their driver's license. When I first decided to talk about this issue, the first person that came to mind was a friend of mine that took 9 months to get her license. This is not a flaw on her behalf, but due to the shortages of instructors. I turn to the street and I look at the father working a hard job on minimum wage. He was a secondary school dropout, and now all he wants to do is improve himself to help support his family. With little qualifications, he tries to become a driver in order to earn more money. He too must wait to get his license. Time after time, delay after delay, and he cannot even get his license. If it took my friend 9 months to get her license, how long will it take him, and how long will his family have to struggle? When I think about my experiences back home, I think about how easy it was for me. One phone call and I got my lesson. 2 to 3 months later, I got my test. Comparing this to my friend, she had to wait 3 times that amount. Hong Kong has placed a restriction on the number of private driving instructors out there. This limit is just an arbitrary number created for the vested interest of someone else. Standing before me, I see those that want their voices to be heard. Why is there even a restriction to the amount of licenses issued? Who determines this arbitrary number? How is it even determined? What will happen after people get their lessons? Are there even enough licensing centres available for testing? These are the questions I impose. It is ironic that the government places such great emphasis on increasing the value of ourselves, or in Cantonese, ji or junjik, Yet they refuse people the simple right to get their license without a great delay. If a driver instructor is competent, safe, and can pass the test, why should he be unable to teach that group of vehicle? It is these barriers that become the issue, and it is these barriers that need to be eradicated to fix the actual issue. We are here so that father, that friend, or that colleague can get the license they need. I personally know someone who has been affected by this, and it is for that reason I stand before you. The Lion Rock Institute demands to open up the market now and welcomes the Legislative Council, government officials, and anyone else who contact the Lion Rock Institute.
Thank you. 下一位係蔣其希先生。
多謝主。
Ms. Zhang Kei-hei. Thank you. I represent Easy Pass. I support option 1, that is maintaining the status quo. I am grateful that many members of the public are for option 1 because competent members of the public can join the competition by drawing lots. Actually, this is a commonly adopted system for many things such as IPOs, PRH, and allocation of primary 1 school places. I understand that RDIs and also PDIs of Group 1 and Group 2 would like to get Group 1 PDI licenses because LDIs have been bullied by DDS and their wages are suppressed. They're using hunger strikes and also protests and blockade of driving venues to protest. Appreciate that we all have our families to support. We have to make a living. However, we cannot affect the rights of qualified persons just to protect self-interest. Can the administration consider imposing conditions to DDS? For instance, wages cannot be too much away from the market value. And then in 2017, can there be more? There will be more driving test venues for Group 2 and Group 3 licenses. I hope different sectors can resolve matters in a peaceful and rational manner. Thank you. Please support option 1. Well, because of time constraints, I will open the floor to members directly for questions. And then when replying, the secretary can then state his position. Liu Choi-ken, Wong Kok-hing, and Pun Xiaoping, Leung Kwok-hong, Tan Ka-pil. I draw a line after that, okay? 3 minutes each. Mr. Pun Xiaoping.
I would like to thank deputations and individuals for coming here today. Now, people may have different interests, and so they look at the matter from different perspectives. Many people ask, how come the RDI is not considered in the consultation exercise? Would the administration also consider this matter? According to the TD on paper, that well, they will also consider the traffic congestion in issuing a license. So, what will happen? Undersecretary, now we have put forward several options, 9 altogether. Now, these are options for people to consider and to discuss. We want to form an option that is agreeable to the majority of the people, so that the ultimate option will have solid support. And I will not rule out the possibility of any new options becoming available during the consultation exercise. Now, deputations and members put forward different new options. Some are about the RDI licenses. We keep our minds open. As for the DDS and the venues, I'll ask my colleagues to take up questions on that. And there are accusations saying that the administration colludes with DDS, and I ask my colleagues to respond to that. Chairman, deputations said that PDI should be allowed to use off-street venues to relieve the road traffic for we don't have any restrictions to DDS. In other words, if a person can connect with a body that offers test venue, training venue, then the administration would consider the new DDS. For the setting of examination route, according to existing laws, there are provisions governing examination routes. So the design and the designated routes should meet certain requirements so that the learner drivers can show they have the capability to drive in a safe manner. That means we set down all the examination rules in accordance with the criteria. And our teachers test the learner drivers using the same standards, same criteria. Wherever they take their lessons, they will be treated in the same manner. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Yes, Mr. Leung, is it my turn? You did not raise your hand. I did. So it's your turn. Are you going to speak? But Mr. Tang said he should speak first. But I call your name already. Now I think we should look at it from three perspectives. First of all, the issue of DDS. The administration said that if the DDS can identify a venue, then it's fine for them. But we have a TPB, Town Planning Board, in the way. So please don't repeat what you've said. I think you should allocate land to these people so they can find a way to get their own license. I think your reply just now is just nonsense. I can't believe you said that. Next. Now, in the past, the bus drivers, after getting their license, they will have to work for the same bus they will have to work for the bus companies. Now, this logic, this practice can't be allowed in the DDS. People should be allowed to get the license and have free choice about what they do in future. The DDS cannot enjoy privileges, and it should not be allowed to exploit its employees. The government, however, refuses to do anything to the situation. Why don't you close down the DDS? Or you can open the DDS so that people can rent the venue and they can get training there. Then the problem will be resolved. However, at present, we have DDS, which is a large company. No, it enjoys many privileges. It is a monopoly because the queue is shorter. it enjoys so many privileges. So you have to tackle DDS first. Otherwise, you can set up a DDS, and then people can rent the venue by paying a rent, say 50,000. So the PDIs can rent the venue. You can set up more DDS, so the PDIs can rent the venue to get the license. Mr. Tan Ka-pyu. Thank you, President. Mr. Chairman, we have 9 options here, but we haven't talked about the HKSM and KTMS SM. Now, the most important thing is for us to look at the employment relationship in the driving schools. Will there be any review in this regard? Next, we have to look at the safety, public interest, and the quality of the DIs. Some people say that the RDIs have got experience and so they should get priority in the application. But some other DIs disagree. Now, I think we should look at safety and quality of DIs. These are the matters that we should look at on the whole. Has the administration looked at it? Next, what's your view on the position of DI in our community? We stress the importance of qualifications. Now, DDS enjoys some privileges. There should be a standard pay to the employees, to the RDIs. There should be a standard pay within the DDS, but you are not doing anything in this regard, which result in dissatisfaction in the RDI licensees. And will you stop DDS from issuing license? Can you stop them from doing so at present? Administration, concerning DDS, now it's a fact that our roads cannot accommodate all the learner drivers. So it's good for us to have designated venue for learner drivers. When it comes to the employment relationship and the management of DDS is another matter. The most important thing is for us to look at the DIs and whether the DIs are capable, whether they are capable in ensuring safe driving manner. Deputations, please switch your mobile phones to silent mode. For the rest of the question, I'll defer to colleagues from TD. She will tell you about the qualifications. As for standard pay, it concerns the market. I think there are different views concerning whether we should have a standard pay. Sorry, time's up for you, Undersecretary. But there will be time for follow-up before we end. Mr. Lee, I already suggested my own option. I think the monopoly of DDS should be abolished. We should abolish two-pronged approach so that people can have free choice, so that PDIs can enter and work with DDS, and that those people who hold a license will be employed. What I mean by unfairness is that some people who get a license, but some others have to compete to get applications. Now, the consultation period is too short, but I think we need to have in-depth discussion. So can you tell us about your schedule, TD? How come the consultation exercise is so short? Is it because you already have made up your own mind? That's why the consultation period is so short. Next, how come you still you are still favorable to DDS? The queuing time is so short and they can hire DIs at a low pay. And how come they disallow RDI from working outside? How come they take away the qualifications of RDIs if they work outside? Is it because there is this collusion between administration and business sector? Now, some TD officials, after leaving the administration, they will work for the private sector. But I am concerned if there is this collusion between Donald Chung and the head of the DDS. To answer your first question, Mr. Lee, the options at table is to solicit public views, and we only have preliminary thoughts about these options, and we don't have any decided option. As I said, the options are there to attract more ideas. Maybe there are new ideas apart from the ones we throw out. What about the consultation period? We don't have fixed period. The license issued are fewer than the benchmark. That's a fact. And it's also a fact that people are waiting for another round of issue exercise. We need time to gauge views. We hope within this year or by early next year, we can have some sort of a consensus when it comes to options. What about the privilege? I'll defer to colleagues from TD to take that. There is no privileges given. Please be brief.
All right. The designated driving schools, well, there is no subsidy from the government. But they can get an examination slot faster. Yes, some DDS identify land to operate. If they're using government land, there is no subsidy or concession. As regards the waiting time for an examination slot. Now, usually, it is about 200 days for ordinary members of the public, and for students of DDIs, 150 days. We allocate our examination officers' resources based on the number of road permits they purchase for their students. For DDS, perhaps they are able to first, they may first get a slot, and there may be a waste of use, for PDIs. Well, if for whatever reason the examination lots is subsequently not used, it is a waste of resources, whereas for DDS, they can use other students, they can ask other students to take up that slot. Thank you. All right. Two more members would like to ask questions. It is 10:31. We'll extend them at 12:31. We'll extend the meeting by 15 minutes to allow everyone a chance to ask questions and the government to respond. Mr. Posey, thank you. Although I'm not a member of this panel, as I said, As the son of DI, I have concern about this subject, and I'd like to tender my views for your consideration. Now, the question of fairness, this is not just about a fair chance to take part in drawing lots. We should encourage new comers to the trade, and we should also consider those who are experienced at DIs. Regarding the benchmark set in 1999, well, the issue of new licenses is based on this very rigid benchmarks. But according to Ms. Helen Lee, she's got a friend who has to wait for a long time to take a test, whereas in other countries there is no such restriction. Anyone who would like to acquire a driving license can take a test at once, and this is how I got my license. So far so good. And how many active DIs are there? About 500. I'd like to know whether a proper survey was done to decide whether new licenses should be issued. And I won't easily use the term collusion between the government and the private sector, but I'm more concerned about a level playing field. There are 3 DDS. I'm talking about the DDS. 3 are owned by the Hong Kong SM, and then we know Mr. We all know the background of Zhang Tinyu. He owns 70% of driving school or driving corporation that owns 30%, 7% of shares of Hong Kong, a school of motoring. All right. While we don't want to be jealous or hostile towards the rich, we have to ensure that whether there is any favors to these schools when it comes to the allocation of examination slots, and can they have special ways of getting licenses for their DI so that they can control the fate of their RDIs. So I hope this review would not be just about the number of licenses, but whether to revamp the licensing regime, because we're all concerned about free economy. And CPD requiring DIs to take CBD before they can continue to coach. I think we should give more choice to the market. These people can choose to set up their own companies or be self-employed persons or teach in driving schools. They should be given that choice. I hope the review would relax the current restrictions. Mr. Wong Kok Eng. The deputations are here. 51 have applied to come. With the absence of one, there are 50. And taking the 2 sessions together, 28 are all for option 1. And those who support option 3, 7 in both sessions. So I think the mainstream view is very clear. The Undersecretary is rather tricky with the consultation period. Now, the mainstream view has emerged. Please give us your view and have it recorded here. In the last session, there was query to this arrangement. The arrangement is fair and open and transparent because everyone joined the queue and participate in lot drawing. If the system is changed, how would it be fair to people already on the waiting list? And for those who have been successful in lot drawing, they take one examination to determine their fate. Why is it that this is not the same for all candidates? Why is it that for some candidates they can resit the test numerous times? So why are these not included in your review? You've just given us 9 options. Isn't it dereliction of duty on the part of the government? Well, the options are just to stimulate a discussion. I think we've all heard the issues arising from this matter. Now, I think we should go through a discussion period, not just a few days are referred to by the industry. I think if we allow time for the consensus or mainstream view to emerge, it will facilitate both the work of the administration and the legislator. I think views expressed today are representative to a certain extent, but can we use that as a starting point and seek a wider consensus? Well, I think that is possible. Yes, I appreciate the point about fairness. We believe the whole system must be fair and transparent, and we must respect skills and knowledge and experience already acquired, and we also have to ensure that there is new blood to this industry. And whether one examination will determine the fate of a candidate and arrangements of some DDS, I think we can consider these details later. Well, you failed to address the crux of my question. Why don't everyone join the same queue and take part in the same lot drawing exercise? Well, there is not enough time. I will reserve time for officials to provide concluding remarks. So the question of fairness and the arrangement of the DDS, well, we don't have enough time this morning. I hope we can be given supplementary information from the administration so that we'll have time to discuss in the future. I'm sorry. All right. All right, point taken. I know some deputations or individuals have not clearly stated their support for a particular option. I hope please only speak upon invitation by me. Mr. Wong talked about fairness. I think, you see, our scope is very wide as far as the options are concerned, from the status quo to opening up or deregulation with all the restrictions removed. There's a wide range of choices in the options. This is to give sufficient room for everyone to come up with a mainstream idea. Any supplement from Ms. Law? All right. I think we should end the discussion here. I want to thank deputations and individuals for attending the meeting. I'm sure the administration should indicate clearly when the consultation period will end so that different parties can submit their views to the administration. As said by the Undersecretary, the administration is prepared to make a decision sometime around the end of this year and early next year. So there will still be time for stakeholders to express their views. Mr. Richard again. Regarding the paper from the administration on the DDS, please give us the paper as soon as possible. Tell us all the concessions available to the DDS. Thank you. The meeting ends here. Thank you very much. This is the last meeting of the panel in this session, and I must thank members for your support. And I want to thank the Secretariat for their assistance. Thank you very much, Undersecretary.